a 10. That's plus no, that's 4 with the true and false.
Let's get right back into it. Check it out, Mike. If you can't be respectful to in the comments, we won't even recognize you. So your panties might get turned up a bunch, and we'll titty twist you at the same time. So getting back to our subject about fear, you know.
Are you fearful for how he's approaching the situation? Like, does this make you uncomfortable? Does this over, step who you are as a person? Like, he may be trolling, right? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? And we could just be sitting here having a real conversation, and here comes somebody with an totally different objective, right?
Yeah,
and
they're being disruptive, and that literally puts us in a position to, this is just a careful moment to reflect on season 1 of Blank Canvas. We went through a lot of shit on Stereo. We went through a lot of different things that kind of distracted us. But after being, I call it calloused, hardened a little bit, it's not going to take me out of my performance or what I'm going to do in my subject. And that's not going to take me out of my performance or what I'm going to do in my subject. And that's not going to take me out of my performance, my subject. And that's not going to take me out of my performance. What's going on here? My subject. And that's not going to take me out of my performance. What's going on here?
What really matters to you? The funny thing is, it won't matter to the next person. So when you are, the funny thing is, it won't matter to the your name, building a brand, or establishing yourself. Your name, comes to us to establish the we have really prove what we want. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no question that I've found what we want. You know what I'm saying? Like, from I've found people pushing against me, situations that seem just so tough. Like, no matter good.
I don't know where the sound's coming at. I hear like a whole bunch of like sound we're talking. It's like reverb. I hear like a whole bunch of like sound we're talking. It's like reverb. I hear like a whole. Are you reviewing your cyber at the same time in Twitch? Are you reviewing your cyber at the same time in Twitch? Are you reviewing your cyber at the same time? Yeah, now it's gone.
Check 1, check 2.
Yeah, I hear you, Cyber.
Go.
I think No Show was reviewing maybe his YouTube and his Twitch at the same time, and the sound from his Twitch. Just a brief, ladies and gentlemen, just a brief moment of a pause. Let's see. All right. Now we got you in Cyber Shots. So what happens is here on Haps, you can be distributing on those other platforms like YouTube and Twitch and everywhere else, and Facebook. But the minute that you go in, and if you don't turn the sound off on that particular tab, it will reverb and it'll come through and it'll play like a double playback.
I forgot I was connected via Bluetooth, so I got you though.
Yeah, I was like, oh, huh. I actually had his, what do you call it? I canceled. I thought Stereo was interrupting me, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? So I'm going right back into, launching right back through Stereo. No, I don't want to do that. Stay solo. Okay. And it says, get ready to talk. All right. Now I'm back. All right, so getting back into our subject after that brief momentary, technical difficulty, I just also want to take a moment to welcome in Cyber Shots, good friend of ours from many different platforms, Stereo, Spoon, Anchor, but now here also a valued member of Blank Canvas. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Mr. Cyber Shots. How you doing?
Yo, what's up, guys? What's going on, man? Appreciate being here. Got off work a little late, so No Show. Jason. Hey, I like that shirt, man. I need to order one.
Oh, Cyber Shots. No Show.
Yes, sir. That's hard.
That's the merch. No Show. I can't hear your mic for some reason. Let's see what's going on.
My bad. No, I was muted. I was talking to my own over there too. But no, I got y'all coming. I promise you. I'm working on some stuff. I want to get you the right fit, the right style, the comfort, the style of shirt material. You see, I don't want to just give you like, here you go. Nah, it's got a touch. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Yeah. Anyhow, getting back into our topic of fear. and really going after it. Now, fear affects our sensibility. Would you guys agree? It does to a degree. If you're not calloused and you're not prepared mentally for your awareness, does fear play a factor in your decision making? What do you think, Cybershots?
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Without fear, I don't think that you would think about the
Yeah.
consequences at hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I could go slap this dude. Maybe I shouldn't do that. He might pull out. You know what I'm saying?
You might go postal.
Pretty much.
You know, he may what do you call it? He may do something like we've seen it live in the last couple years, especially. We've seen how politics is heavily playing on fear. Straight up. I mean, every commercial ad. I'm in California, and Cybershots is in Florida, and No Show's in Atlanta. But here in California, I have received 40 calls and text messages all about the recall election for Gavin Newsom. So the Democratic Party is really funding a lot of this money and communication and making sure this guy stays in place. Because in reality, if Gavin Newsom's recalled, and I am voting to recall that motherfucker, sorry, and I am calling you that, because what you actually have done to people by being a hypocrite, just going on a slight rant, you have done to people at the worst possible time. You are a fear-mongering play. I'm not even going to get into losing my cool, but all I can say is a really bad guy, and he's a hypocrite, and instituting policies and mandates. And now it's even worse, because it's not just the governor. It's now the president, and we're going to go into that in a little bit. But I want to circle right back into the play factor of fear in our eyesights, our phones, when we listen to podcasts, you name it. There's a never-ending subject matter when it comes to this, and it affects our children. Like No Show, when you were talking about your holiday episode, about your kids, even talking about Santa Claus, and you're like, no, I'm Santa Claus. I don't. I'm it. I'm giving this to you. We're not playing on a fictional character.
No, we're not. No. That's important, man. I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. Am I fake or am I real? Am I truly genuine? Is this somebody coming in as me, taking my strong work, my actual thought process? Yeah, no, it's so much into it, bro. I'm sorry, but I think people just overlook the simpleties or the subtleties of being able to accept anything that comes your way. Like, if I wake up in the morning and start telling myself, oh shit, I'm gonna go to work.
And does that create a pressure on?
Yes.
I mean, does it create a pressure that you feel in your body? Bruh. Not just as a dad, but your body feels this.
Yeah, bro.
Family,
work, schedules. You said it earlier today, right? Wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, do my research, study what I want to do, and then go to work. You said this, and then by the time you get home, what? You're tired, right? You want to get some sleep. You want to be in bed at 9 o'clock, maybe 12. But if you can, you'll go to 11, 10. You know what I'm saying? You'll find time to still fine tune you. So if you were so fearful, would you still continue trying to do you? Are you unfearful that you can still wake up in the morning and do your regular 9 to 5? And that's okay. But are you so fearful that when you take time for yourself, it's almost as if it's a chore?
Right. Now, does it create an unnecessary fatigue, like fear as a commodity, a concept, a feeling? Does fear create a type of fatigue where you can be levied against very easily if you're not aware? And many people are set in a place where if I don't buy this, like just even touching on the holidays, if I don't get my wife this thing, if I don't get my kid this PlayStation 5, this attacks your senses really about who you are. And then you as a dad, you are the mentor. Straight up. You are the mentor. And then you're going to teach your kids what we call a generational curse. That means habits in your performance and your mindset, your behavior, your reactions to things. And fear happens to be like that source. Cyber Shots, what do you want to say about that? I want to pick your brain for a moment. What do you think about that? What I just basically said.
I think people have a fear of discipline, which you have. You know what I'm saying? You say you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you have a schedule, you do this. You don't make excuses. You make time to take care of what you want to take care of. A lot of people are like, yo, I don't want to do that. Or I do want to do this, but you know what I'm saying? You making excuses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like you guys hit me up. I was at work, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, blank canvas, hell to the yeah, I'll be there. As soon as I got here, man, boom, hooked up, and here I am. There's no time for no excuses, you know what I'm saying? But that's my concept. People have a fear of discipline, man, to what they really want.
And in all fairness to you, Cyber Shots, we talked about it doing it yesterday, but I was reminded, we want you to be here and be a part of our concept. And so I had to add that because I'm tired. I had to remind myself, add our good friend here who wants to also build with the concept of what blank canvas represents and a different aspect of thinking. So all three of us guys, we're coming from different positions in life, but to centralize on the product and this topic of fear.
Yo, you both have joined the service, right?
Right.
So
no, not me. No.
Oh, I have.
So no. we're all in that from that same light in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
I grew up in a military family.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? I did too. Yeah. And you were experiencing the travel of being a part of that. Jay was yourself experienced it. So we have a certain onlook or outlook, if you want to, but I say onlook because I prefer to be a part of that, which I am, about how we lived our life and experienced a certain thing. So we're one and the same and just in the different parts of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. So I want to kind of call something. I served in the military. My parents served in the military. Your guys' parents served in the military. So therefore, you were in the military. And the only difference is I had to carry a rifle and a pack and you didn't. But that's only one difference.
I had a rifle and a pack. Oh,
yeah, but I was deployed.
I got you.
But families are also deployed. Not to get away from our subject matter, but families are affected. People are affected. And what these institutions in the armed services, no disrespect, shout out to everyone who's serving the country, as best they can. They swore an oath and a duty. May not always be the best light that they want to, but it's going to get back to the subject in just a second here. But your guys' families and you as kids growing up, you were affected by what these deployments meant and what it did to your fathers and your mothers. So in a way, you guys kind of were in the military, it's one team, one survive. But now you guys as grown men, maybe you made the choice not to actually sign the dotted line, as they say, and put on the uniform. That's the difference. But I applaud that also. I appreciate those who have a consciousness of, you know what, I don't need to do that. And my reasons why I wanted to join is like, I had a financial choice. I wanted to prove myself as a man. I needed to grow the fuck up, straight up. And I didn't see, my father wasn't there in my life, most of it. So I needed to find something that was going to help harness and exactly did that and help set me on my way to where I'm at now. So, fair enough. But getting back to fear, how that, even just that subject matter, set things in our place for awareness. You guys all have a great intelligence and awareness of things, being storytellers yourself, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I would definitely say that. I know Cyber Shots, you know what I'm saying? Like his storytelling it's different. Like it's not something I've done before, and it pulls me into how he describes, a certain scenario or a certain scene, and it adds to how I like to tell stories because now I'm impacted from his message to start implementing something different for me when I want to create a universal idea. It's like what's it gonna take for me to make that happen? Well, I have to listen. So I like to listen to a lot of people's stuff, gain insight, and if I was fearful of this, right? At the time when I first started podcasting, I thought I was like, yo, give me my shit. This is my time. I want to make sure that people are listening to me. Arrogance of me came about it. And I started off, when I first started, I was like, this is how it's going to be done. This is how it's going to be said. People are going to understand me when I do it. There's no question how I'm going to approach it. It's just ego. And then I started figuring out, and I was like, wait a minute. I don't want to be arrogant. What can I do? And my fear was to become something so big, so loved, and so determined to have this recognition that it came to me as a threat. Like I was fearful of how I was going to be looked at. And now that I see it, I'm more willing and ready to accept not being that person that's on a pedestal. When I was in video sets, I felt better being behind the camera than actually in front of it. Maybe it was a confidence issue. I don't know. But maybe I just didn't care. After seeing all the celebrities get all that limelight, I didn't want that. So I started humbling myself back. I was like, what do I want? And I think No Show fits my name perfectly because my fear to know something that I love, to let people see it, is always an expectation or a stereotypical understanding of what they see it as. So when they see No Show, it's not because they know shows. It's that he ain't here. Where he at? He keeps disappearing. I ain't seen No Show in. Oh shit. Okay, he's back. No. So it's like, how can I make something from fear not to be threatening to me, not to belittle my hopes and dreams or the people around me? How can I do that? And when you were talking, Cybershots, about do people have a fear of discipline, making excuses? I also came up with, are they diverting the problem? See, and if I didn't listen to Cybershots, I wouldn't be able to write this down and be like, shit, you know what? Maybe I am making excuses. I can do whatever I want to do, but the fear overwhelms me and just says, fuck
Right. Right. It is in the long run a huge thing, and it touches so much. I mean, consumerism is the hugest thing that fear predicates on. Being a consumer here in the US, and you talked about it in your show about, like, is China really against the US and is US really against China? And many more people are actually talking about this in such a way where they don't want to take possession of their time. They want to, like, they really want to go be like, no, we need to. Okay, guys, here's a real question. How many times, or have you heard it, America's needs to spend on American production? Have you heard that? We need to spend on American goods, nowhere else.
All of the American goods made in China. Yeah, we've heard that for quite
Right.
some time.
Right. And Cybershots, how many are you aware that there are more American brands just made in China? I mean, do you see where the things are made on your tags and your clothes?
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, and with that awareness, does it make you feel a little uncomfortable? Because I'm not going to lie, I don't feel like Chinese goods are dependable. There's always something fucking up on them, from clothes to parts. There's never an end. They do make some good products, and some brands, some brands really look at the way that things are made. They're like, no, this is our specs, no cheating, don't fuck with this. But then in their country, they also have where intellectual property is stolen. Like the the blueprints of whatever that product is copied. You know, what are they? Is Rema? What? No, I'm tongue tied right now, but it's basically producing a cheap version of the original product brand. And
A
No Show, you
replica.
did talk about that exactly this last week. You pointed certain things out of intellectual property being stolen.
So let's play with this idea for a minute. Um, Artist, right? Creativity. I was in the barbershop today. Beautiful woman came through. She was like, um, have you listened to the original version of Brenda Starr, if I'm
Mhm.
correct? And then she said Mariah Carey came out with a rendition or the same version, but her performance. And we did talk about stealing ideas because the originality game is gone. Maybe it's a fear they don't want to be true to themselves. I don't know. But why do people plagiarize? Why do people take stories from somebody? Why do they take some shows and then go with that show and move on and create a similar show, but just with themselves? Who knows, right? Maybe it's because sometimes myself, when I hear things that I want to chase, I feel like, yeah, let me go ahead and get it out there. Let me get it out there so people can get it first. And other times I just do shows because I enjoy not having to be a part of that chase. And when I see that there's a whole build with creativity and individuality and fear playing a major part, I kind of look at it as a fight, man. Like martial arts. So yeah, just ready to
Right.
do whatever I
Oh,
can.
power, no Shosan. Don't buy. Don't buy. You don't need. No, you have to buy. Buy PlayStation 5. Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when I look at my setup, man, this is just half of what I'm trying to do. So
Yeah,
this
nice. That's
Christmas,
nice.
you know what I'm saying? I might buy something that might add to it. Now, Chinese parts could be a part of it. It come from China, right? I don't know. I'm looking more now that I'm more understanding to this didn't come from America. What about these parts? And even with Dell, right? Let's just take the computer company. When they first came into the picture, they were assimilating different pieces from all over the country to make a computer, just like Microsoft did. And that's how refurbished computers have started. Now that's how refurbished cell phones have started. So now you're looking at parts that are shipped from multiple countries, which starts the trade system, how you were saying. And when we look at how we're forming these relationships and then also deciding whether this is going to be a market people are going to just enjoy. Number one, Chinese parts are cheap, so it's easy to get. It's accessible. There's no issues with that. So we get it on the ready. Majority of the money spent in American homes, like General Electric, that's Chinese. If you look at your fridge, if that's your General Electric, or maybe you might have a Samsung, that's not Chinese directly. It's like what Japanese, but it has Chinese parts.
No, Samsung is Korean, and
Korean,
actually,
Korean.
yeah, actually, the word Samsung in Korean means teacher.
No shit.
Yeah,
Learn something new every day.
Something new every day. I fucks with it, and that's where I'm at right now, man. Like the parts that I have, the computers that I'm using, the microphones that I need, the lights that I'm purchasing. What am I doing with my money, and where is it going? Because if it keeps going to people who run the markets, then I'm not helping the person that's trying to come in too. Like I'm not
Right.
diversifying my portfolio. You know what I'm
And
saying?
what are people now worried about now? I mean, manual labor is being more affected by two things specifically. One is artificial intelligence. So if I don't need as many mental minds and people to work a calculation or make a product or follow what people want or whatever, that's one. Data. They call it machine learning right now. And number two is actual robotic automation. So these two factors literally change the makeup of how we see and we put things in place right now. So our smartphones, so to speak, most of our smartphones are all made in China. And then some are made in South Korea, and very few tech is actually developed anymore in Japan. And Japan is always on the cutting edge, but because the demand of production for a keyword, cheap labor, you pay an average Chinese citizen 30 cents on the dollar as opposed to an American who's going to cost you $3 an hour. Who are you going to go to make your product? You're not going to go to the US. That's just mathematics 101. So, but do people understand their imprint? You know, we feel it when we have more homeless people on the streets more now than ever, and close to the levels of the Great Depression. Close, not quite there, but it's getting there. And what is affecting like American society? Like I'm hearing more truckers talk about they do not want automated drivers. And I'm Cybershots. Let me click over to you for this. You drive truck to a point, you know.
Yeah, for like 20 years now. The thing about that is I am waiting for a self-automated truck to make a decision at 45 miles an hour when there's a deer in the road, there's a lady texting on the cell phone, there's a guy drinking and driving, and there's a kid that just had a ball in the street. I want to see that truck make that decision.
And guess what? That technology is already kind of here, because if you drive most new cars now, they have a sensor on the front bumper that initiates a warning signal for you to stop. In some vehicles, it actually stops. Like it puts on the brakes for you because you may be distracted slightly. Like the brand new Nissan Maximas. I was just looking at one, and the new warning signs, it literally will start pressing the brakes or automatically initiate and engage your brakes for you to avoid a human, an object. And it's scary about how it's there, because now it takes, so just thinking live in the moment as a question, you know, it's taking decision making out of our hands. Over to you, Cyber.
You know what I think about that? Okay, let's say at the beginning when I first joined, right? What happened? We were glitching, right?
Right.
Now, what happens in that same scenario? It starts glitching.
Yeah. Weather, electrical charge in the atmosphere. It could be anything. It could be a data link failure. Now, how many times we've all tried to connect, even on here, Haps, or even here live on stereo. How many times have we tried to connect and there's a glitch, there's a sound effect, someone's mic is not going off, or even the visual is not setting off like we wanted to? It's a lot of work.
I'm gonna give you one more thing. I'm raising my hand like I'm in class.
Oh no,
Professor Jason, Professor No Show, I have a question. But no, seriously though, check this out. Okay, like I now I have a 2020 Mack truck, right? Brand new truck. But when this technology first came out, I think it was in 2014, right? I had a 2014 Mack truck. They had the GPS on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could tell when you were opening the door. That's when the cameras first came where I work at. The cameras first came in the truck. They can tell when you open the door, when the truck is stopped, and your location at all times, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were trying to track everybody, right?
Wanted to.
Yeah, but they couldn't track me. You know why?
Why that?
Because I scrambled that shit. At that time, they had a big piece of they had the antenna on the inside of the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, to connect the wire and everything. So I was eating my lunch. I had a big piece of aluminum foil, right? Yeah. So the next day I went home, wrapped this shit up like a baseball, put that shit right in the corner. You're like, shots, where you at? Shots, where you at? I'm like in Florida. Meanwhile, I was looking at jet skis.
I like that.
Yo, the intense surveillance system that's kind of another thing. Like they're so fearful they have to watch you in every predicament or every situation that you get into. That is, I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. The investments that people want to watch over and just, you know, just be so, I don't know, scared of something's going to happen. Like that's in itself, it's a pattern of fear already embedded into a system. Whether it's money, it's a form of sports. You know, there's that stigma that always comes with it. Now, let's say, for instance, that when companies didn't have so much surveillance on their products or the companies or their trucks, or you know what I'm saying, or they didn't come stock or standard in your car. I mean, let's be real. If they can hack into computer webcams, you don't think they can hack into your car's review mirror light or camera? You know what I'm saying? They could probably do whatever. So it's the point of knowing that these systems can be hacked, not only glitched, but also switched over to a point where, all right, let me do this. There was a movie, I think you guys, if you have the chance to check, it was an old school movie. Dude Buddy was a gearhead. He loved working on cars with the wrench and just getting underneath the hood, doing what he had to do. And then when it came down to the society around him, it was all digital. Cars that show up, deliver pizza automatically, or it can take you and chauffeur you and your boo to wherever you need to go. All you gotta do is like Uber, yeah, no. And I think if Uber is doing what they're talking about doing is autonomous vehicles in the future, that's
Right.
another straight up
Driverless cars.
yeah, like this movie was just clearly showing us. It's like the parallels. It's
Well,
just
look at Demolition Man. Did exactly
Taco
that.
Bell, Taco Bell, baby. Yeah.
Demolition Man did more damage to me in my perception. It kind of set me a little bit in a fear motion because back then it was what made in the 90s, and showing of how the society was perfectly formed. But then there was this underground people. You had Dennis Leary representing the rebel, so to speak, the Rebel Alliance, or the guys who don't want to conform to buying Taco Bell. They had automation of like if you try to spray graffiti, it had like an electrical thing, like zzz, it's gone, and then the cars where they're not driving.
Oh, that was early when they was doing the autonomous vehicles then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, you had Sandra
Wow.
Bullock, you had Sylvester Stallone in it, then Wesley
What about
Snipes.
Total Recall with the dummy computers, right? How they
Right.
up themselves on Mars. That's crazy. Yeah. So they started this really early. But it was maybe even I after watching those movies, am I fearful of them becoming the next thing? Economically, I would invest into those, just to be like, hey, this seems like a very smart decision. Let's see what's going on because people want this in a sad way. I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? I'll say that right now. I don't really want that.
So-
I enjoy having some limitations to what we can advance as far as getting rid of the human. I don't want that. We're still useful.
So now this predicates so now we're talking about fear of technology, but we love technology. We can't lie and say we don't appreciate the ability to waiting for like something like HAPS as an example and stereo to put it all together, help us put it out like how we communicate what story we're telling. We can't. I mean, I've been shopping for cameras and taking mine to the next level of yes, this is not a hobby. This is actually a professional choice. This is a lifestyle. And so with that, understanding technology, software, your performance, how you get viewers, how you build your brand, I mean, they go hand in hand. They complement each other, and one doesn't exist without the other. That's just a fact. Technology doesn't exist without the human interface. And if it only relied on itself, kind of like on the Terminator movies, if you think about it, if humans didn't exist on the earth, would machine really, or AI, so to speak, really exist and evolve? It would be the replacement of what humans already do. And when I was reading the background story of Terminator and the Matrix and all that shit, what they were really trying to show was how man was trying to play like God of creating not a competitor, but a slave, so to speak, a slave to us having beyond limitations of the physical and the mental status. That's really why those movies were made. And it wasn't just to instill fear, it impacted fear. It used fear as like, how many people have you heard talk, oh, we're in the Matrix? Or, yo, this AI thing. It's going to be fucking Terminator. And now you got drones, you got all kinds of shit, right? So weapons that weren't really designed to be weapons were considered to be aids to mankind and women also.
Nice.
To aid us to live a easier lifestyle without tearing away at our bodies and our minds, because we look at our parents and their generations. The average human being didn't even live past 60 years old. 100 years ago, 100 years ago, man did not survive past 60 years of age. The average death, according to a statistic that I had read about the Great Depression, said that that the average adult had died within 40 years of age to 55. And that was because of famine, stress, and fear of not being able to thrive. I mean, I read about that stuff back then to give me a bird's eye view of human behavior so that I can make a foreseeability choice in where I'm at today. So I appreciate doing things manually. So getting back to the point is, are we really afraid of technology? Or are we afraid of what technology can do to us beyond our control? That would be the question to both of you.
Say the question one more time for me, real quick.
So are you really afraid of what technology can do to you beyond your control?
I mean, what it can do to us, if we're going to use those words, what it does to us now is it changes our frequency, man. Honestly, there's been times where I've been realizing, as gaining more acceptance to my spiritual awareness, just stepping away from these devices. I sit down sometimes and I can hear it hum, and I know it's alive, right? There's energy flowing through these devices. And what they're emitting off of these devices is not all that healthy, right? It's not gonna, if I'm sitting around it 24/7 all day for the rest of my life for 40 years, 60 years, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can see it having some kind of effect to me. Plus whatever I consume as far as eating and drinking, you know what I'm saying? The hierarchy, the levels to going to the level of fucked up. But when I sit here and really think about all these things, man, when I step away, I know that there's another realm of who I am, right? I'm a different character on this machine, man. When I meet my kids, I'm a father, right? When I meet my wife, hey, what up? You tripping, girl? Come on now. Come on, what's up? When I'm with the homies, hey. But when it comes down to it, there's certain things that I exhibit in my daily life that when in those certain modes, fear can strike at different moments of those times. And you have cameras watching you, right? You have people's phones up on you now. You have technology is now. Before, when I did it, you get into fights, nobody was recording that shit. They were like, oh, they were there. Right?
And what does it do? And what does that do to people? When you see, like, here's an ethical thing. When people don't see that level of performance normally, like if I didn't see kids fighting in school, would it be so impactful? Now kids and parents nowadays have to worry about bullying and that digital imprint that people are going to see. How would you like it to see if your daughter or your son on YouTube or World Star, how would you handle you seeing your kid getting their ass kicked for everyone else? It's embarrassing to me. I'd be afraid.
UFC and MMA now, like they have history of when they got their ass beat or not. So it's not necessarily a bad
thing levied against them as not a strong individual in the future.
Ain't nobody fucking with them.
It's like this.
Talking about the possibility. I think this has bigger ramifications than what we realize right now. And Cyber Shots, I'll get to you right in 1 second. Look at reality TV now transcending into the digital world. people like, for example, watching Big Brother and seeing people turn on each other, literally. You know what I'm saying? All right, Cyber, over to you, man.
Okay, check this out. Like you said, getting embarrassed by your daughter or your offspring losing a fight, right? Come on, man. We didn't win every fight.
No, I
There
know,
was
but
there was
did
more of a fight going into the
include
house, and your mom or your dad, yo, what happened to you? Oh, really? You better turn around and go back there and get it. But on this AI thing, another part I wanted to mention, like here, it's not necessarily a fear; it's a concern. I was talking to No Show about some robots that they were testing. I had did some research on, and they had programmed these robots. I think it was a simulator. I'm not sure. I still have to do some more research on it, so don't quote me. But anyway, they had 3 robots, right, to kill people, and they disassembled and destroyed 2 of the robots, right? But one robot started to repair itself so that it couldn't be harmed again to the next level. Just like people on stereo. Here's my thing. AI is in front of your face. Oh, let me use some background music on stereo. It says created by artificial intelligence right there. How many people looked at that? I'm like, man, that's not a
algorithm music to increase the mood or response levels of how people receive your message. Yeah.
It's learning though. Like you said, Cyber, that system is learning, right?
Right. You need to learn how to make them type beats though. Go ahead.
Good, man. I'm just like I'm mind blown, you know, because I actually have a show about the robots. There was a movie that I peeped the other like 2 weeks ago, and it happened to be about what kind of stuff that we're talking about right now. So I have a show about that. It's freaking weird. But yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, and that's guys. I mean, this subject matter, what fear set in place. We didn't know how far this is really going to go, but is it bringing you? And to all those listeners and viewers out there, wherever you're at, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you're at, stereo, how has it affected you? You know, in the moment, how are you being? Can you disconnect from your phone without a fear of missing out? What do they call it? FOMO? Yeah, FOMO. Fear of missing out, of not being connected. The average person connects to their phone interface wise, like clicking on that phone, looking at, did I get any messages? Let me look at social media. This is something that has taken place of a fear of not being relevant or even current, or, oh, I found out shit too late. But for those of us who have figured out, I do enjoy the disconnect. I do enjoy my family, my friends. Like you said, No Show, hanging out with your boy. It doesn't always have to be communicated to the rest of the world, but maybe in your secluded environment, maybe where you enjoy your personal intimacy, or even your alone time of not hearing a bunch of noise, because too much information is not always a good information. Straight up, it's just not. And we have to understand that when it comes to all this, where do we draw the line? What communications are relevant and are important enough? Because I heard something, like I told somebody, I turn off my phone from about 11 p.m. till 5 a.m. It shuts off. It has a timer. It goes off, then it goes on right at 5 a.m. when I'm probably already up. And in that time, I'll allow myself not to be recorded in how I sleep, or if I'm talking. I don't want AI or anything getting to the possibility of getting to me where I'm most vulnerable in my subconscious, where my body is regenerating, healing, creating. And here's another big thing about that relates to fear: the lack of imagination. People want instruction to know the right thing, but they don't use their creative spirits through imagination and problem solving or making a brand new path. Us as content creators, just that word alone, 2 words, content creator. By using our live in the moment and making this talk happen, how it affects people. We are influencers, whether it be one person or a billion. We are recorded and live, and how that impact touches
So,
on us.
so what is the idea for people today? I mean, there's so much fear, right? All this information, fear of missing out. News is coming at 1,000 miles and running. There's plans set by certain entities that are enforcing these regulations. There's families who aren't able to feed themselves. There's people who are losing their established businesses during this whole entire chaos. And the fear of letting that sit in, not just dealing with it, but letting it, accepting it more so than knowing that it's happening. And are you going to push through it in this way? How are you going to push through it that way? Because once you realize you start, in the words of Trump, draining the swamp, the fear of knowing that the waters that we were so comfortable riding in, the you know what I'm saying, just the atmosphere we are happy with, is now being pulled up from underneath us. So this is one of those times where people will either learn how to better their stances without those entities controlling what is done, or you can just go with the flow. Entirely up to you. And this is where me and my wife, we talk about what might happen, not necessarily putting it into an existence, but bringing a clear understanding where we need to stand. And why not? If we do not do that, are we stepping backwards? Because if we're not ahead of the game, or at least know what's going on, I mean, we're gonna fall short by the wayside, and that goes for anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We plan, regardless if we're gonna wake up tomorrow. That plan.
Hey, gentlemen, not to interrupt, I have a message from Divine Idea on Stereo who wants to add a little bit of this content. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear here on Haps as well as on Stereo. So, Divine Idea, I just want to kind of interject just for a moment and let her have her piece or her speech. So, here we go.
Hi, baby love. Hi, sugar fuzz. What's good, my J? Hi, baby. I'm here. I'm tuned in. After you finish, I'm gonna do my Super Soul Saturday. Yes, sir. All right. So I'm here with you, though. Hi, Sugarfoot. Hey, baby. Man, I wish you had come to that show last night. Oh my God. It was horrible, but it was good. And I fell asleep.
Thanks, Divine Idea. It's moments like that I appreciate the most. And I'll tell you why, because it gives a little bit of emotional levity. Like, we are talking about something pretty damn serious, but Divine Idea, definitely a personal shout out to you. You know, way to go. So for those Stereo listeners, as well as those who are on Haps and you want to give a comment, we will read them. Be respectful, be mindful. And even some of the hecklers, I might take a moment just to recognize you, but edify the brand of what these gentlemen are doing with myself and, here on Blank Canvas, live in the afternoon, morning, whatever you want to call it, whatever time of day or eve it is for you. So thank you all for sticking around and being viewers and listeners. So if you're not on Haps, make sure that you download it can do desktop or your phone. You can watch this simulcast and be a part of this great opportunity. And if you just want to call on Stereo, that's great too, because we can also add your content and your opinion, your ideas of what you think. I have one more message from Divine Idea. All right, here you go, babe.
Wow. So tell me what's going on. I'm hearing two other voices out of your voice.
I'm possessed.
Out of your face.
I'm possessed.
So what's happening? I'm loving it. Okay, and I'm gonna be quiet and listen to what you're talking about so I can add value and not just be a buffoon, as my mother would say.
I am possessed. I got No Show and Cyber Shots, aka Cyber One. Also, live content creators from Stereo on the Haps app. We are trying to do video as well as audio and add to this experience as well as the brand. We are developing Blank Canvas. And the topic today is about fear. So for those who are brand new entering into the show and tuning in live here right now, That's what we're talking about. So, Divine Idea, yes, we're taking the game to a broader perspective and just making great content here. So, thank you so much for calling in. Back over to you, No Show. You were saying some very, very important things, and you were basically saying in so many words about your presence in a sum. You were talking about the value of your presence in your life versus your digital life or your virtual life. And Cyber also wants your input on this. How important is it to have your physical presence in the regular world as opposed to the digital world, where many of us find a lot of our time in?
Okay, I'll take it. Yo, check this out, man. For me, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a struggle, a real struggle. You know what I'm saying? As a person who does not watch TV, stopped watching sports like 4 years ago. And people always ask me, "Yo, what you gonna do when you get off of work, man? What you gonna do? Watch TV?" Huh? Do you know what I can accomplish in the time it takes to play a football game? I could do a podcast, edit the podcast, do a video, promote it, live stream, you know what I'm saying, and get that out into cyberspace. And hopefully I'll make $2 when I'm sleeping. But seriously though, it's like, to me, I have a problem. Like when I shut up, I get off online, right? And I shut everything down. I don't want to go back online. It's like two different worlds. You know what I'm saying? And then when I'm online, I'm like, yo, my phone about to die. My battery's low, man. What am I do? What am I do? You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm having a problem, man. I'm stuck right in the middle.
Right. And No Show, what do you think? I mean, how important, is it for your rejuvenation to disconnect, to really feel out the physical world? What does it do to your mindset? So when you come here and make content, how is the relationship? I know you and I have kind of talked about this in a sum. How does it affect, like, all the different things that we face with throughout Blank Canvas and independent content creators? How does it really affect you by disconnecting and then coming back later to create content? How does it, like, what does it do for you? Does it rejuvenate you? Does it inspire you?
So, for starters, when I do step away, the values that I receive for what I do next is imperative. Whether it be drink some water, go out, walk barefooted on the grass, right? Just walk in the dirt. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I've been doing this more frequently. I've been stepping away from when I get the creative mode, I do what I need to do. But when I walk away, me and my daughter, like when I'm at home, I should be sleeping because I work at nights. So when I don't work, it's like, doom. Hold on, wait, doom. You know what I'm saying? Just I'm in the zone, and when I step away, I have to leave this behind, and that's one of the hardest things for me. Is somebody who likes to create things. I have to step away and do the daddy task. So now I'm dad, cooking, cleaning, getting everything ready, getting my work stuff ready because I gotta get ready for later on the shift, and then I gotta think about when I get off. I gotta go ahead and prep breakfast, so I gotta cut that up. Bam, now I have breakfast. Pull to the side. I'm in who's your daddy mode. What's up, baby? How you doing, girl? Come here. Give me some love. So now it's like I got all these different characteristics within me, and we all do, right? We all have these characteristics that exhibit who we want to express ourselves as. So when I find myself pulling away from each and every one of those, pulling away from my kids when they're going to sleep, like right now, I'm pulling away from my lady when I go to work, she goes to work. I pull away from my stereo or apps or any kind of podcasting. There has to be me time. So when I do me time, it's when me and my daughter go out to the park and walk, or I do an early morning walk, go to the gym, get my breathing. That's the next thing that I'm building on is my breathing technique. So once I get this underway, I'm developing a new structure of myself. I'm creating new double helixes. I'm building new strands of DNA in my head, right? I'm building those proteins. And when I see myself carrying on as I do, I know the gains and the receiving benefits of walking outside, getting some fresh air, or as fresh as the pollution allows to be, or drink some water the best that I can, or just sit there and meditate, or just find quietness. Because, like I said, when you walk away from the computer, you hear that the computer's humming. Your phone kind of has this buzz. I've been holding my cell phone, and at my finger, the battery port, I feel my finger on my phone start shaking because it's receiving that energy from the battery of the phone. So I'm like, man, let me put my phone down. I don't like it. So I'm feeling more hypersensitivity to some of these gadgets and equipments. And after doing the show on 2021 holiday expectations, I've only come to realize that we have been purchasing as consumers digital devices, digital equipment, podcasting equipment, cameras, mics, stands. You know what I'm saying? We have been partaking in this $1 billion money system that we've been given to China. So in this holiday season, like I said before, they're expecting 283 some odd billion from each and every one of us spending on either Chinese goods or, what I'm saying, non-American goods, either way. And when you look at just that whole entire deficit, you're creating a war or fear tactic in America. Like, where am I going to get this money from? Nobody's has money. Now they're giving out what stimulus is for people who have homes. Like, I think if you have a home, you get a stimulus check now. So it's like they just keep giving people incentives to not have to worry about the real fear.
To generate what? To generate power for them, or give us a false sense of awareness, or a false sense of that we have power and choice.
Stimulus, stimmy, the key.
Right. It's to encourage, stimulate.
Yeah. So that's all it is.
Right. And one of the things that, my partner happens to say a lot to me, and my kids, and she's like, when you come home, you come to me, make sure that you're bringing the best for our daughter. Make sure that you're bringing, bring you. And so when I tell, like when we were talking earlier, and we were talking yesterday, I start my day 4:30, 5 o'clock so that I can have my time for myself. That's the key, because if you don't take care of you, rule number one, you are number one. You are number one. Your family are dependent on you. And the only way they get taken care of is if you mentally, physically, and spiritually take care of yourself. Those three elements, if you don't have those in place, you are influenced. You are what I call sheeple. You are manipulative. You are constantly in a place where you don't have control. And then you go and bitch about people and organizations that literally took nothing from you really physically, but they took your mindset. So when I get up and I do my meditation, a reading, or I'm watching a video of how to perform on a mic, or how to enunciate my words, show a stage presence, become a better storyteller. If I'm not feeding the purpose to do what I really want to do within my control, as opposed to, okay, let me just sleep as long as I can, then get up, go to work, be exhausted, then take away time from my kids. Fuck no. Sorry, everybody, but my family, my kids, my legacy is all dependent on the availability, the energy, and time I allot to everything, not just to myself. Because if you're not looking out and taking care of you, you go and take care of them, and they resent, and then arguments and all this other shit and personal pettiness plays in on you. And then you start developing things like cancer, diabetes, heart disease. You start doing things that you probably wouldn't have done normally, and fucking with people that you probably would have never been dealing with to begin with. And because you assimilate and you empathize with them, they know something of your cause, of your difficulty, you become a group. And from these groups becomes mentalities, and from mentalities it becomes politics, and politics becomes policy, and then policy becomes consumerism. And who's really in charge of that shit? Because it ain't you until you take that ownership of your availability, your emotional security, and like I said, how you callous yourself. That's as real as you can get. Like, I can tell you for a fact, when I go on the mic and I do Rise and Grind in the morning on Mondays and Wednesdays for sure, and Cybershots calls in, I can't tell you how happy I am. Yo, architect, what's going on? It makes me feel happy. That influence on the digital highways when I'm doing my thing really boosts me up a little bit. But people can also take you down if you let them. And things can take you down. Politics. One of the things that some of my mentors tell me, do not watch the news in the morning and do not watch the news at night. Do not watch it, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Dinner time at the table should be family time. You talk, you become intimate. You know who you're talking to. Your kids are your students. You are the mentor, not their portal device, not the music, not the video, not the TikTok. You are, because this is what I tell my kids. I am raising you to become great adults. So when you choose and you move from mom and dad's house, guess what? You're going to be better off than I was. I lived with mom and dad for a time being as an adult, and it sucked. It still sucks when I have their dependencies. So if I can set them up for success and creating awareness and creating peaceful mindfulness to defend against those mental influences, then I have done my greatest work ever. And if I also can provide value to any listener or viewer right now and helping them encourage that, then maybe, just perhaps maybe, or more than likely, things will really change all around us. And it won't be China versus the US or Republican versus Democrat. Your influence will not be levied or pivoted so easily. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the equality that needs to be done. Like, let's say if we start spreading our money out, right? We know where our money is going. We know how it's helping certain countries build their economics, and that's the same here with us, man. Like, once we figure out what's going on with home, and that's almost the key form of talk right now is we're internal, which is America, but we're focusing on external, which is Afghanistan, China, Europe. And when you breed soldiers, like, right, we're just soldiers, not necessarily thinkers, scientists, robotics engineers. Like, you're not breeding these kind of people. Only if you have the means to help breed those kind of people. And it's almost when you know that generational wealth is serious. Generational.
Yeah, it's there's plenty of speakers that say that the top percent of all 80% of all wealth in the world is to the 1%, and it's easy. And they say fear is the primary tool that they use, and manipulation. Like when I made TikTok videos and telling people, you're so tuned up, ready to go back to war. You want to go back to Afghanistan? Those people don't want you. But yet you, and then they talk about the security of America. And I'm like, oh no, I'm talking about the security of my family. I did my time. I signed the contract. I did my duty. And I would be doing a serious disservice if I put on a pack and a gun going over to a foreign country where I don't speak the language. I don't know where other Americans are at. And I would be hurting those people that served their time. Straight up, like Afghanistan is business-wise, they have so many fucking minerals, and now China and other companies are moving, and countries are moving into that resource because they're untouched by time. Most of it, they live literally water, food, shelter first, and then ideology of a faith or a theology or rhetoric that doesn't support good people.
Right. But we don't see it like that as Americans, man.
Of course not.
We have a privilege, an honor, and that's one of the things that I experienced first and foremost. When my pops retired from Marine Corps, and so we're moving.
Big ups to him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
The whole thing was that when we moved from California to Georgia after he retired, he said that if we would have stayed in California, it would have been more problems than good. That was it. Thinking. I was mad. My fear was to move into a new part of America where it's considered to be hella racist. They hang my black ass for just smiling. walking to a chick or something. That was my biggest thing. And when we moved here, I didn't understand a lot of it, man. But the mentalities of a lot of the people in the area that we moved to was different, right? And then I meet people more down south, more country. You know what I'm saying?
Their
And
values change.
yeah, everything changes when you see how people live and want to live. When you know that people choose to live spending money in a direction that they know not and are comfortable with it, it's a blind idea that you're not supporting who you think you're supporting. It feels good because it has, Michael's or Sean's or whatever, and it's this guy owning the store. But when it really boils down, you just have to understand. I'm sorry, one second. You have to understand that there's more to the puzzle than what we understand. So bear,
Yeah.
bear with me, guys. I got 1 second.
I've got 5 messages. Let's while you get a break for no show. So we're gonna hear it. Divine Idea. Hey, what's going on, gorgeous?
Now I just started and I am an official now. I just started my company and the name of it is Fist Media Group Incorporated. F like Frank, IS like Sam, T like Tom, Media Group Inc. And it's all about this. It's focused, informative, stimulating, and thought provoking media. Yes. And I have this idea, and I think you guys would fit right in. So, offline, I will be talking to you about this idea. I think you probably would do just wonderful things with this idea, and maybe you would like to join with me. You guys are taking it to another level. I'm loving it. I'm going to try to figure out this HAP thing. So, if you can explain that so I can do it, I'm excited about this, baby.
Yeah, make sure that you reach out to us. Go ahead, Cyber. You're gonna say something?
No, no, no. I was just agreeing with what she said.
All
I
right.
like her energy. I was laughing.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Now, here's something you're talking about fear. Ooh, false evidence appearing real. Fear is something that even in the book of Job, it was in chapter 3, the 26th verse or 25th or something like that. Real bad with trying to figure out where it is, but I know it's chapter 3, 20 something. But it said that everything that Job feared came upon him. Fear is the worst enemy. Fear is an enemy. And if you look around the world, that's all the world is doing is pushing fear. Fear is an enemy. And it's an adversary. And it's subtle. Think about it.
Yep, that is. And we've got 4 more messages. I'm gonna burn through these real quick.
Man, I love that. You know what? I used to be that kid that would go outside and play with no shoes on. In the city. I didn't grow up in the country or anything. I grew up in the city, but I always don't but you're gonna get dirt in the house and all that. And so, but I was always outside with no shoes on and so energized, by everything. Just natural. And I found that as I've gotten older, I'm having such a hard time taking my shoes off on the grass and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, something's wrong. Something's wrong. I'm realizing that the universe is so generous, that the spirit and love is so generous. And, it's, we don't have to, we that thing went by so fast. Couldn't even get out I don't even know where it ends. So let me listen and figure it out. Okay, so what do you guys think about this mandation by the president and in many states of the vaccine? The mandation. Now, I'm not talking about the vaccine, okay? No, I don't want to talk about that because I think that's a personal thing for everyone, and I think it's your business. It's your choice. Um, whether you get treatment for HIV or you don't, I think you have a responsibility to people, especially if you're sexually active. I think you have a responsibility, but whether you get treatment or not for it is your choice. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, what do you feel about the mandation? And can these jobs that are like, we're going to take your salary, we're going to fire you if you don't, can they really do that? Okay, so another question for this wonderful panel. All right, so I came up with an idea to start my own insurance company, and not mine, but just an insurance company that, and so I, and the purpose of this insurance company would be to pay for naturopathic treatment, because as you know, health insurance that is traditional doesn't pay for those kinds of things. And a lot of success, a lot of research, a lot of everything with this naturopathic clinic. And I thought, you know what? What if people had an insurance company that actually paid for this? Now, I was told that I wasn't going to be able to do that, that is an impossible feat and I should just forget about it. So, what do you guys think?
A lot of questions. Divine Idea has one more, but I want to take time because she put out two questions essentially. One, in fairness to the guys I'm talking to here on Blank Canvas, do you guys really want to talk on the mandates? I want to treat it cautionary. I do, because it is important, but it could also go into a way different area that takes away from the topic. And not to be disrespectful to any particular person, but I feel like a lot of people are going to be, they have been talking, and I'm conscious about my emotional awareness about this personally. But do you guys want to comment on that first and foremost?
Okay. Sorry. Number one, fear. I remember she said fear is an enemy. I'm gonna say I don't think it's an enemy. I think it's a resource. Second thing is, how do you feel about the mandates, and how do I feel about it? Well, I feel that they're doing what they need to do to amp up the level of fear in people. So if you are reading like I've seen articles about it. I'm not going to say too much, but just the overview of it all. They speak on these mandates. People are talking about them. That's what's supposed to happen. You have the chain events. For you yourself, you talked about it. Now, yesterday I talked about it. And the level of fear that's going to be spread through podcasts, through social medias, through text messages, through family circles, it's going to raise the vibration of what a dog can smell, right? When you walk on a piece of property and you don't want it to bite you, but you know if he smells that ounce of fear, he's coming for you. That's where I see this next phase happening. So, yeah, I think it does tie into our show, man. But you know, I'm not here to talk too much about the ins and outs, but the overview, yeah, it's a heightened fear level event, right? Heightened fear level, HFE, right? So
Here's the one thing I will say. Okay, so the president initiated an executive order for mandates of any company that has 100 employees or more. So, in order for the executive powers to take heed to be it an actual law, it must be gone through and vetted through Congress, and then eventually through the Senate to be mandated to being into law. So, speaking personally, I object to that because it does violate several acts of the Constitution itself, search and seizure, but they still haven't addressed the science adequately and with a timely fashion. I think that's where a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid because it's things they don't understand. And with the highways of communications now, the digital highways, they're predicating to defense, like why they should do this is because of false news, fake news, and ignoring that the natural elements of medicine, versus the prescribed elements of medicine that we think through logic, that is constantly through gaslighting. That's the key of our generation right now, knowing the fact that we are being gaslit as fuck. No offense to nobody, but the more that, yes, we should have conversations about these things, but know the parameters of where you want to limit that exactly. So when the president mandates something like through executive order, people bitch about Donald Trump doing this, but the one thing I do give Donald Trump credit on is that he did not tell the governors that you have to do this. So because of Joe Biden, which I don't want to like to use in his name, to sum up, using his influence in the office of the presidency, he's not a king, he's not a ruler, he's not the Messiah. So guess what? You got to go through the people. And that's where I'm all about. I'm all about people, but how people are influenced through fear. If I don't get this shot, I can't go to work. Or if I don't do this shot, my kids will get sick. Well, guess what? Right now, as it stands, no kid under 12 is going to be vaccinated. So you're going to have to work harder, stupids. You can't just fucking think, oh, a vaccine. No, you need, if you really want to go at it, why isn't medicine and science talking about how to actually cure this? Not just through a vaccine. That's the problem. So wrapping up my statement, I gave it just, hopefully that gives you an idea. But the point is not just our awareness, not fear mongering. It's where are we progressing? Because I went last night, I was in downtown Tracy, California. I was at a concert for a Summer Series concert. You can look on my IG if you want. And me and my lady and my 3-year-old, we're grooving to hits from Tony, Earth, Wind, and Fire. We were, all people of all walks of life, no masks, hardly any masks. People weren't worried. They were having a good time. They're moving their bodies. They're enjoying their time. Music, outside, nice summer eve, which wrapping up to be summer eve. And you think that people are talking about viruses? Probably not. We do that all the time. The news, you tune it in. I guarantee you within 10 minutes of tuning on any news network, you're going to hear the numbers in COVID are rising. The new Delta variant or the Omega virus is now defending against the vaccine, and you're going to have to get a booster shot. It's just like, and you notice, here's my awareness about fear. Every single time after a holiday, from in June to what was it, Memorial Day to 4th of July, they were like, people are going to be on the travel. And then within days, numbers shot up. Do you think people got sick within 2 days and all of a sudden you got COVID? What the fuck? Serious. Who the hell are you trying to fool? But see, if I get the vaccine, I'm secured. No, come on.
I mean, bro, it's a whole ass mood right there, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's about how you accept certain levels of fear. When we were talking about earlier, how fear controls you, what are you consuming, right? Are you consuming this audibly? Are you consuming this visually? Can you consume fear by the smell? As humans, can we do that? I'm not sure, but I know
you can to animals. They
animals can do it.
They can smell it off you.
That's what I'm saying. If it's part of animals' nature, or some animals, is it a part of our nature to still? We know we smell bullshit when we know it, right? Somebody's talking some bullshit. It's kind of bullshit. But when we start smelling like fear, if that's a thing, then that's cool. But as far as videoly and audioly, we take in these things, that's what we're talking about at the barbershop today. We talk a lot at the barbershop, but he was saying I quit listening to a lot of the music today because of the words they use in the songs. There's nothing that's giving his resonance and higher push. Like when you listen to 70s funk, or when you listen to any jazz back in the 80s, the 60s, or the 70s, hell, even the 50s, right? The whole vibe you get from listening to music, it builds you up. It gave you something. When you listen to music today, I'm not getting a lot of anything from some of these artists. And I'll sit here and say, I take in less audioly, take in less visually if it doesn't build me up to what I need. So yeah, I'm on a different kind of switch, bro.
Yeah. Okay. So check this out. I want to get your opinion on that, Cyber, in just a second. But I asked a question on search engine, and what does the Art of War say about fear by Sun Tzu? And Sun Tzu says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not to fear the results of hundreds of battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Now, that is an impactful quote, because what that's basically saying, that fear at all pivots, it can encourage you if you use it right. Like, my fear of losing doesn't stay. Like me and my lady were just talking about the other day. We literally went over, I don't give a shit about who's next to me, who's competing against me, like on Sarah. I don't care about that, because I care about the content I make. I don't worry always about opinions, because they don't always qualify to the situation at hand. And I tell her, you have to escape the fear of, here's the number two thing in the world. People talk about hard in fear of things being hard before they've even touched or attempted. They want an easy like script or cheat code or motivational video or book or program to tell them what the fuck to do. And at the end of it all, at the end of this, all this stuff, they are nowhere further ahead, but they're plenty further back in who they are. And we all know, as gentlemen, we all know that the importance of knowing our lane, knowing how we perform, and who we will perform with is very important. Like I tell people constantly, know your tribe and develop your tribe of mentors. Don't just be around people that are better than you. Engage with those better. Have it edify you and build you up, straight up. If you are not, like, I could show you a cam of all my books of self-development, all this other good stuff. It's all great in theory, right? But until you can actually apply that stuff to making a brand, making a show like you all are here witness to and listening to, until you can put that action. I actually have a diagram, and I'll show it to the camera. And at the top of it, it says why. On one side of it says what. And the other side says
Flip the camera around. I can barely see it, bro. Flip the camera around.
Let's see. Go back. So anyhow, this is my problem solving diagram. So draw a triangle, a pyramid, and at the top title Y.
No,
On the other point, title.
Camera, to you, so I can see it. It's like in a little box in the corner. Broadcast.
Oh, hold on. Let me do this. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
All right. Sorry, guys. So in this diagram, this is my diagram of problem solving. I shared it with a good friend of mine, Leslie. And on the top, it says why. What you're doing, and then the other point is how. Oh, wow. And the other point is what. And in the middle is when. And what when represents is the action. So when people say hard, if you haven't employed all these 4 elements of the whole body of the problem, don't fucking bother me with, I don't know what to do, I'm afraid. Yes, fear is to remind you that you're still alive. Fear is to remind you that you have an internal warning system to let you know there is difficulty or to walk away. Like, are you going to walk in front of a pack of tigers? Nope.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
You may
I don't fear them. I'm ready to die.
You look as big as like, hey, you'd be a tasty treat. Then, instead of me, I'd be like a piece of beef jerky. I'm gonna chase no show.
Hey, this was a good death.
Yeah, it's honor, right? But the point is like, when we realize of how we leverage and pivot because of how difficult something is, and living our best lives, as so many of us have said, live your best life. What does that mean? Yes, I'm going to have obstacles. Yes, I'm going to have easy points. How can I make it a huge ensemble to making a great experience? Not only that, can I be proud of now, present as a presence, or presence as a present to you, as a gift, whatever you call it, creator, God, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head down to rest, that's why when they say, you know, I pray my Lord, my soul to keep, you know, da 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 da, as I lay my head to rest. That is a prayer to let you know, if I don't wake, I've lived a great life, no matter position, how much time it's lived. It has a deep meaning that most people will overlook, you know, and it is a programming, but at the same time, it's to let you know that everything is temporal. Our lives are going to end at some point. Should we really be afraid of it, or we appreciate it? You know, I'm not going to be here ever for my kids, but making content on here right now, they're going to be able to look at, this is my dad. My dad was straight up. My dad gave me tools when he's not here. My dad gave me and other people, and providing value. And I tell everything every time, how can I provide some value in for you today? How may I be of service? Key, very key. And if you can actually enjoy that, then it doesn't matter what shit someone's saying, or maybe you're having a bad day, or your job is not fulfilling you. You have a choice. That's it. It's when we stop feeling like we have choices is the problem. And that's what fear does. It influences our presence to not having a choice in the matter. We blame, we point the finger. And like you see on the camera, just like this, there is, when you're pointing it at somebody, the barrel's pointing at someone else. But guess what? What's pointed right back at you? The hammer. You are responsible. And the rest is the body of life. That is really the quintessential of all of this. Your involvement of how you are in the world. Or you're just gonna be like, nah, I ain't fucking with all that, man. I'm not responsible. And sometimes you just got to butt out of shit. You don't need to have an opinion. You don't have to, you know, that's why, like, when people ask me when Joe Biden did his speech, I was like, oh, I didn't watch till the next day. I was like, no, I'm not going to watch it and tune in. My mental space is from my kids, my work. I was tired Thursday night. Told, you know, said to my lady, like, hey, I can't come over. Can't do it. I'm whooped. But come Friday, let's groove tonight. Down. And there's, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see it. Me and my baby, my 3-year-old's in my hand, and I'm grooving with her, and I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling my vibe, and I'm feeling my time. And it's like I told my lady, hey, we get up. We're not here. We're here to get up and groove. We're not here to take up the space, you know, just to sit and listen. Sometimes you do, but let's activate the body, activate the mind, activate the soul and the connection, and all three come together, and it's a fulfilling day. I know that's epic speech, but whatever. But hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But it goes that way sometimes. You know, we got one message from Divine Idea. All right, what do you got, baby? What do you got to say?
Okay, what I was trying to say about my the taking my shoes off, when I heard the gentleman talk about taking his shoes off and walking in the grass, I can't do it anymore. My brain keeps going to people's spit, animals, boo boo and pee pee in it, and I can't get past that. Any advice on how to get past that phobia thing?
Let go. Simple. Let go. Are you a germaphobe? Guess what? You are touching billions of surfaces with all kinds of billions of antigens and biologies that can kill your ass. But guess what? You're still alive.
Yo, real talk. Let me ask you this. I was thinking about this earlier. Okay, fear of transcendence, right? So this is kind of what plays into what she was saying, where let's say I have my kids and I'm teaching them to drive. That is my next step, being able to let go, because I like to be in control sometimes of a car. I love knowing that I'm driving and I have full control. And sometimes I get a little skittish when I'm in the passenger seat. You know, that's her walking onto the grass. She's a little skittish, right? So when I learn to let go of all the feelings, all the control that I'm used to having, that's when I start bettering, my stance on how I can just take a chance and stop saying can't.
And No Show's taking a brief break.
Okay.
Cyber
I'll chime in
Shots.
on that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go right ahead.
Okay. She says she's from the city, right? Lives in the city.
Yep.
I'm originally from the country, but I have lived in the city. I understand what she's saying. But have you ever looked at the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet? Why are they different from the rest of your body? If you were to go outside in some grass, barefooted, I'm not saying like in the city, where everything, it is what it is. If you can find some some grass and get barefooted, you know what I'm saying? And just plant yourself on a nice summer's day when it's warm. You'll feel the difference. I get
Yeah.
it though. I get it. Like not walking barefooted. I hate to wear sandals and I stay in Florida. Not gonna happen.
Mhm. But if you're afraid of all the parasites and the garbage and the shit and the piss and all that crap,
Oh no.
that is one aspect of life. And, if you're worried so much, then I'm going to put this fear in your mind. Okay. Do you know the animals that you eat are eating grass, which is grass and foliage is Earth's natural filter against what it's fuel to everything. So when people say, "Oh, I don't eat pork because it's a dirty animal," guess what? You ate a cow that's eating some dirty ass fucking feed. You ever been to a ranch? You ever see what they eat in alfalfa? Probably not. Do you want to see what a chicken eats? You want to know that a chicken is most fruitful when it eats worms and grass and all kinds of other bugs? Do you want to think about that? Stop creating fears of things that are not relevant to you. There are going to be things that are going to come into your contact of your body, but there are things that we can do to clean ourselves off. There are things that we can do to try to clean or filter our foods to a point, because we're all in a recycle bin. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Cyber.
No, you just said recycle. The average person does not know how to recycle. Let me ask you guys this a little bit off the topic. How do you recycle a water bottle?
Every day.
I didn't say when. I said how.
Oh,
You just throw it in the recycle bin, the whole bottle?
no. Actually, no. There's a couple things. Any vegetables that I don't eat, any leftovers, I add to a compost pile. At the house, we have a green waste for that. And sometimes, when we're gardening, my lady does it. She takes like eggs and whatever that's not cooked or whatever stuff, throws that in one pile. Then, even though I know that 3% of all recycled products actually can be recycled, we use the recycle bin for that, but we also reuse and repurpose things in our livelihood. So if wood is no longer serving as part of a porch, it's used actually for, maybe to hold up some roof. There's different practices that we believe in our lives. So I can't say that everything goes to waste or everything goes to recycling in purpose, but we try to make it as best as we can.
What about you, No Show?
So my living situation doesn't allow us to do the recycling. That's what I was going to talk to you about. So
that's cool.
Down to where I'm at, I told my lady we need to start doing more gardening stuff, get some more stuff ready. And I have a compost in mind because as much fruit that I eat, I could literally go outside and make one grow something. But we don't have a full house yet, so it's like I don't know if I want to do that just yet. But I still need to find ways to make my own vegetation. So that's one of the things.
You got a porch?
That's one of the things I'm working on. The second thing I'm working on is receiving solar panels, right? I want to start getting natural light. I want to be able to use natural energies instead of coming up with all these coal-based systems that we so rely on. So that's one thing. The third thing is plastics. There's no area in our subdivision that allows us to recycle our plastics. So we haven't been the best at doing that. I'll admit my negativity on that. But as far as it goes, there used to be a recycle plant literally right across the street from us shut down. So
No, actually you're doing the right thing. Didn't mean to cut you off. You know why? Because the average person that recycles a plastic bottle, do you take that ring off? The little
line
crap off the top. Nobody does that. So guess what? If you don't do that, it's not recycled. It's trash. Believe it or not.
Now that I know that, I'll start doing that.
Yeah, for real. Wait, you talking about the little ring after you
Brake
pop
seal.
it from the hot water?
Yeah, because it's part plastic,
the
right?
brake seal.
Right.
Yeah, the brake seal.
Wow.
You hear
And
that,
just
ladies
like
and gentlemen, listeners and viewers? Make sure that if you have those plastic bottles, you know, your sodas or whatever, bottled water, that little ring that's left around when you break the seal of the cap, take that off. If you put it in your recycle bin, make sure that you do that if you can. That's coming from a guy who works with waste disposal and shit. You know, Cybershots will elaborate a little bit more on that.
now, I've been in sanitation for like 20 years. Actually, I've been driving a garbage truck for 20 years. And a lot of people don't know how to recycle, period. I mean, it's not anyone's fault. You know what I'm saying? No one's ever taught you that. Just like I'm gonna give you another question. How many times can a piece of paper be recycled?
I have no idea.
I mean, you talking about after your kid draws on one side and flips it over again type recycle? Or are you talking
Is that cardboard construction? Paper in general.
multiple times, man, if I'm correct.
It's 8. Have you ever done a project with your child and you see the thick pieces of paper? And if you look at the top of it, you'll see lines, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if it has 8 lines, it can't be recycled anymore. 8 times.
Wow. That's a trip. That's a trip, man.
See the science in that though? That's something that people don't think about. Like, we don't naturally just be like, hey, this is recyclable.
You know what I'm curious about? You know all these shredding companies that shred paper for businesses? Do they, with their shredded material, go to a paper company and take all that bits and make paper? I'm wondering if they do that.
That's a good question.
Wouldn't it make sense? You're not only breaking it down, but it would be easier to like repurpose it. In my opinion, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not the shredder guy, but I sure do shred a lot of paper. And now I'm talking about probably maybe 20 pounds a week, 30 pounds a week of paper.
Damn, bro.
Well, I work in the legal industry, bro. I mean,
yeah, we know. I'm just saying.
I go through motions. I mean, if I were to show you guys right now what's in my box to shred for this week, it's literally 40 pounds just from this week alone.
You guys are environment killers, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we'll get back on topic. But hold up, the house is lived in. I gotta take a break. I'll be right back.
All right. I hear the vibration. He's got the president's on the phone for him. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Are we gonna go nuclear from Florida? Is the governor?
If I'm correct, Florida is the only state that we really know that's talking about fighting against certain rules and regulations, and it's crazy that they're fighting for human rights.
And Texas is also doing the same thing.
I mean, Texas already made a decision. People are
I don't want to put it in the universe, but it just seems like Texas wants to secede more than anything. They've got some of the best companies in their state, best energy resources. They've got one thing they lack is agriculture. I don't know, but they're close to the Gulf states. You know, you got Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia and Florida. Shit, good old buddies. We grow your peaches, grow your corn, whatever else.
I actually look forward to learning more about this trade that are happening, because once we see that, we might pull back more from China. So like, what other countries will we associate with, and how?
Well, they buy most of our produce, believe it or not.
I mean, I get that, but if farmers are not getting incentivized to keep producing, that cuts us back, right?
It does. And we're not, I mean, my friend, one of the colleagues on Stereo, Millie J. Green, she was telling me that the fruits look and taste so much better in El Salvador than they do here in the US. And I'm like, I don't doubt it. We're GMO, like bananas. Take bananas, for example. If you look like natural bananas in the wild, they are not perfectly yellow. They grow brown and spotted and all kinds of other shit. Just because the consumer, as a consumer, we're the ones that want that pretty yellow, perfectly shaped banana. We discount more produce because on the basis of the way that it looks as opposed to the way that it tastes. And I have some friends who came from Beijing and had an apple and they're like, this tastes like this. There's no taste in this. No taste. Straight up. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
That's American produce. You're buying the best. They get better. Like if you look at, for example, cherries, one of my clients, he deals with cherries. Japan and China buy the best cherries without being genetically modified from us. And we don't even see it at our grocers. We don't. We see.
It's interesting because I look at that too. I go to farmers markets and get their produce and get their the vegetables, and I see a huge difference, man. Like I'll get Asian pears like crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'll eat those up.
Dragon fruit. What about that? Or
I love dragon fruit, bro. I mix it with my smoothies.
I love dragon fruit, guava, passion fruit.
Yeah. I love guava, bro. So it's like,
or what is it? The other one, monk fruit, and
I never had that.
Like monk fruit, and there's another one. It's a big one from India that they simulate, like they can make it taste like meat by adding certain things to it.
I'm not fucking with that.
I haven't tried it. Can't say what I think of it, but I mean, there are a lot of people trying to become vegetarians. But guess what? When you become a vegetarian, it's going to cost you more. Yeah,
they'll make a market for you, fake as hell. You don't know. Organic.
And now the controversy of the supplements and vitamin industry is like, no, you have to have an activator now. What you're taking and swallowing is not as good as you think it is. And I'm like, well, fuck, I spent all this money. But
yeah, I've always been careful about those, man. I when I see I can buy it at a Walmart and the same stuff at Walmart is purchased in, my goal is never to have my products in Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like I can care less. Like granted, that's a cash cow for anybody who has business in there, but I don't support Walmart. I don't. Yeah. That's just me.
Hey guys, we have one more message, and I also want to kind of bring this to a close. We've almost spent here live on HAPS 1 hour and 51 minutes. So bringing a lot of this discussion to a close in just a moment here. And for all those of you listeners who want to add in some of your thoughts, maybe if you're on HAPS, you can type out. We'll read some of your responses, so on and so forth. We will be doing another episode of Blank Canvas real soon. We'll announce the episode. Be on the lookout. We'll announce on social medias when and where and what we're going to talk about. So Divine Idea, last message from you.
I did hear that there were, China has stopped Bitcoin mining. And so I had heard that all of the miners were going to move to Texas. Have you guys heard anything like that? I don't know if I'm crazy or if I really did hear that. And I missed everything. Somehow sometimes I think that there are powers that just don't want me to hear certain things. So the last thing that I did hear was that good information that you gave me about letting go. I'm working on that, man. Ooh, what a challenge in life. I think that must have been my purpose for coming through this incarnation and having this experience on this planet at this moment and time is to work on letting go.
Right. All right. One more message, and it's Divine.
You guys for a really great show. I really appreciate this. I needed it. You gave me my fuel. You put the fire to my feet and you put the wind in my sails. Did you ever know you were my hero? Thanks, guys. Much love. Peace and blessings.
All right. Coming to a close. Closing remarks from you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for working on this great collaboration. this is, we are trailblazing, I feel, in what we're doing now in the format we're doing. And I just want to say I can express, a great deal of humility and gratitude. And, I look forward to working with you guys again and creating more works.
No doubt, man. We here, bro.
Hey, that's what's up. Hey, that's what's up, man. As always, an honor and a pleasure. We come a long way from a 30-second podcast.
That's what we started out. Shit, it was 30 seconds and went to a minute, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. Then here we are on a completely different platform. Yeah. No show?
No, I'm just looking into this. Why Texas could become the Bitcoin capital of the world.
Uh-oh.
Man, did you see how fast he could type, bro?
You put the but here's a fact. China is still mining Bitcoin.
I know.
They're mining it. Whoever told people that, that's like from someone who just wants to get you to think something else. You don't think that they want to lose any of their economic fiscalness? No. Anyhow, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Brent coming to a close. Tune in next time. If you want to catch either of these gentlemen, make sure that you subscribe on Stereo Haps. Go to happs.tv. You can subscribe. You can be a listener, a follower, however you want. If you're on Stereo, make sure that you find these individuals, these gentlemen, in their own shows as well as collaborative shows. I have a regular show Mondays and Fridays for sure, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 8:30 Mountain, and 9:30 Eastern. So, and then I'm working feverishly to try to get Men in Black coming up. So that's schedule announcements. No Show has Taco Tuesday. I think it's every other Tuesday, but he also has a show on Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Cyber One also does collaborative efforts on Saturdays or Sundays with Red Sable on Digital Flowers. So definitely you guys want to be on the lookout for those shows and that content. So that's all the time I have for here. I'm ending the show live on Stereo. We'll see you all next time. Make sure you tune in, and we'll see you later. All right. And we're still live here on Haps. For those who are exclusively watching us on Haps, we will,
Oh shit, man!
This is kind of an exclusive right, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'll be honest with you. I only want Stereo to have so much. I don't want them to have too much. I mean, no offense, but I appreciate the platform, but every platform has their exclusive rights.
You can take the audio from the video and turn it to both, 2 in 1.
Yeah. Remember that? I didn't do that.
You didn't groove out the right way, bro.
Yeah, man. That's so gangster, though. I love it.
You might want to log back in just to say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that, and play it, and then just don't come back.
Nah, I'm going to go and edit and put it on Podbeam and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else. I've got like 2 days to do my audio and go put the shit out there, because it's time to really appreciate the download accessibility, because the downloads have so much more listeners. And I think that's really where we're at this point in the game, live on, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere else that this can be viewed and listened to. So no offense, but I want to take and heighten that brand, making the availability happen, and just go for it, man. Guys, thanks so much. Today was a great show,
No doubt, man. I have not to cut you off. I have not done a podcast since you guys have told me about this. Haven't been on iHeartRadio, none of that. But you know what, though? People are like listening to different episodes. I'm like, very interesting, no?
It plays itself.
Yeah. All right, for Haps, I'm ending the broadcast. You guys, if you want to stay and talk for a few while we're still in studio offline, thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you tune in, keep aware of the schedule for Blank Canvas, as well as Mr. No Show and Cyber Shots, as well as myself. So I'm ending the broadcast, but we will talk off air. All right. Thanks, guys. Here we go.